I think it's time for a crypto market update here since the weekly candles are going to close in about 8 hours, 45 minutes from the recording of this video. And I'm going to start with the total crypto market cap here on linear scale. And we can just look at this chart. Look how symmetrical it has been the whole time since the bottom here in 2014. And this is the 45-degree angle. We can see perfectly how it was a resistance, then it was a very important zone right here, and now it's still very important, right? It was looking like it was flipped back to support, but then we lost a couple of weeks underneath it. But look what happened just now. Well, the week is not over yet, still 8 hours, 44 minutes, but it is on top of the 45-degree angle again as a support, and it's on its way back to the orange level again, which we look in the past, that was a resistance zone before. It did go above it a little bit, and it did wick above it there in March, right? So it looks like it's on its way back. Is it going to get there soon? Let's find out with the Ichimoku. Also, the Ichimoku is 100% bullish. It just simply back tested the conversion line. That's all it did. And now everything, all the indicators are pointing to higher highs. But we can see that the previous candles here, this is a lower high. And from here, it's a lower high. So it's a series of lower highs, right? So even though it's still back above the 45 and it's back above all the indicators of the Ichimoku, we can still see that it's making lower highs. So in order to get really bullish, I really want to start seeing higher highs. And a good start would be like a weekly candle close above this 2.598 trillion mark right here, right? Or 2.599, just say 2.6 trillion, right? Any weekly candle close above that, then that would be its first higher high from the previous lower high, right? And after that, the next step will be breaking above this orange level, and that's like around 2.655 trillion. And then after that, it'll be free to go to the orange arcs above and beyond, right? So just a few more steps to go for this to be really bullish, but the first one is making that higher high from here, which we have not seen yet. So before we move on to the other charts, let's go look at the log scale of this total crypto market cap. So here is the log scale version of that same total crypto market cap, and we can see that it already backtested the top of the arc, right? That is looking officially like support. And what we can really see here is that this arc used to be resistance and now it's support. This is a huge bullish development on log scale, right? Huge bullish development. And look, I think I've already showed you this before, but I'll show it again. Just look, when you expand the chart, the next level does sit here at 45 trillion, right? Because once again, the blue level was hit perfectly, right? The orange level was hit perfectly for a few weeks there, right? So that means price should gravitate to that next level because it's on the top side of the arc. This is a very bullish development, right? And that's at 45 trillion. So not only that, we can go look at the bull market support band here. It's just an indicator within the trading view. And you can see that it's battling the top side of the bull market support band. And also, all it did was go and backtest the bottom of it, the green line of the bull market support band. And now it's trying to close the week back above. And as we can see in the past, it has been below it before for a little bit. And then once it gets back above, it starts to really take off, right? So right here, it just started to take off. So if we see something similar in the weeks to come, that this should start to take off to the top side and get to these higher highs. And once it gets back above that 2.721 trillion candle right here, that little wick up there, then I think it's really going to start to explode and we'll see some really big growth. But I don't think it's really time to get super excited yet, just because we can still see it's a series of lower highs, right? Even though support has been found, that means it's just still in a range and it's near the top side of the range, right? So we'll see what the weekly candle close looks like, and then we'll look what next week brings us, right? Because if next week just continues to backtest levels, then, you know, we can't really get excited about that. But if it next week does, if next week does close above these levels, then it'll look better and better. So now let's go take a look at the others market cap. And this is the total crypto market cap others, right? This is excluding the top 10. So it's not including Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, or any of the other ones, right? So we can take a look at this and we can see that essentially it's a very important level right now. So looking at this chart, it's very symmetrical. This blue angle, very important throughout time. This is the 45-degree angle, also was important up and down. But we can see the important thing here is this orange level, that's where price is back to. But we can see the previous all-time high was the blue level up here, right? So for others, it's still lagging behind the total crypto cap, and it's also lagging behind Bitcoin. So, but we do see it's near a support, and I've been saying it's near a support for a long time. And when we zoom in here, we're looking like the others chart wants to try to close back above this orange level, right? This is a very important development because last week it did close above it, but now it just went back to successfully backtest this level and almost the blue angle below, right? So it's looking like the possibility for this to hold looks pretty good. Again, there's still 8 hours, 35 minutes left. So we'll see how this weekly candle closes. But the development is looking great because you can see right here, it was a previous resistance, right? And this previous resistance looks like it could be flipped to a support. And this is what we always want to look for. It's what I always want to look for in a chart, right? I want to see price break above it, back test it successfully for a continuation higher back to this blue level up here at 455 billion and beyond, right? It's what I really want to see. But is it going to be ready to really break out yet? Probably not. And we look at the Ichimoku. This is telling us some clues here. The conversion line, it's closing back below, right? The possibility of it closing back below is right there. So a lot of the weakness we are seeing in some of the altcoins is because of this reason, right? It's not above all the indicators like the total crypto market cap, right? It's not above the baseline, it's not above the conversion line, and it just needs more time, right? We can clearly see that price is right here, right? The cloud price is above the cloud. That is a positive. But we can see it's below the conversion and the baseline. So when you look at a lot of the altcoins and you see their weakness, it's due to this fact right here, that they're below a lot of the indicators here. So they're just not ready to break out. But the good news is they are looking like they are finding a support. So they are just lagging behind Bitcoin. They're just lagging behind some of the other coins in the total crypto market cap, right? So just more patience for others, right? And now let's go take a look at the log scale version of this crypto cap. Now, this is the log scale version of the total crypto cap, excluding the top 10. And we can see the similar situation as the others that it is, or sorry, as the total crypto market cap that is flipping this top arc to a support, right? This is a very important development here. We can see that the support has been found, but it's not ready to break out. And it's also making a series of lower highs, right? From this high, there's a lower high here, there's a lower high here. So a lot more patience. But one thing in regards to that bull market support band, when we put that on right here, you can see clearly it's on the bottom side of this bull market support band, just like it was here and stuff, right? So support is holding, but it's getting rejected by the bottom band. And it just needs more time to break above this to go higher and higher. But we saw back here, it did something similar in May 2023, where it came back down to retest the bottom arc. And it was on the bottom side of this for some time. So it's looking like it could be something similar to that, but it just needs a little bit more time to get back above that band to go higher and higher. But once it starts closing candles back above this bull market support band, then what we can really see is it's going to gravitate to the next level, right? See that blue level right here? Very important. So the next green level up here does sit around 14.42, 14.5 trillion, right? And this is just excluding, or it's only including everything besides the top 10. So the highest market caps like Bitcoin and Ethereum and all those other ones, it's not including those, right? So all the other altcoins are going to get to that 14.5 trillion level, but it's going to be a little bit slower than the rest of them just because it's not as bullish yet. It's on the bottom side of that bull market support band, right? So we just need more patience for it to break above. But the good news is, like I said, support has been found. Just look at that blue level. That's the proof you need, right? Back here in the past, it was resistance right here. And then it tried to be support right here, that blue level. And then it lost with that bearish engulfing candle. It lost that support and was resistance ever since, right? It was resistance here until this bullish engulfing candle, then a successful back test, and then another successful back test, right? So essentially, this blue level is support now. This is great, right? So we can't be too bearish on this. We just can't be really bullish yet. Just got to wait until it's back on top of there. And currently we're looking at a close maybe above the 275 billion. We're at 228 right now. So got some ways to go. But even still, I want to see a higher high. I want to see a higher high from here on the others chart. And that would essentially be a close above 305 billion, right? That's what I really want to see for things to build momentum to continue higher and higher, because I don't like to see these lower highs. I want to start seeing higher highs. So yeah, the others chart, the altcoins, they look like they need more time, right? They found support, but they're not ready to break out at all yet based on this. And now let's take a look at Bitcoin on linear scale. And this development is looking good as well, right? That orange level, it's back to support again, right? It was a resistance, and it was a support. Briefly dropped below it, but that was just a bear trap. And now it's back above. So again, this is looking pretty good, right? But what do we see from the top? It's a series of lower highs, right? Still a series of lower highs. And what do you see right here? That blue angle, right? That's getting in the way. So yes, there's support, but there's also resistance. So can I get really excited yet? No, because A, there's a series of lower highs, and B, it's under the angle of resistance, which currently sits around 71,300 or so. It could be a little bit more. But to be even better would be a weekly candle close above this 71,949, right? So a weekly close above 72,000 would be best to make a higher high. And that would lead for a continuation higher and higher to the 100,000 pretty easily, right? Because there's really no resistance above that until you get up here. So I really believe once the weekly candles start closing above 72,000, it's just going to start exploding higher up there pretty quickly, I think, right? So that'll be good to watch. And if we look at the Ichimoku here, you can see it's also just like the total crypto cap, that it's above all the indicators. It's above the conversion line, the baseline, above the cloud. 100% bullish, right? But, I'm bullish at support down here, but I'm not so bullish at resistance because I want to see it break free. And once it breaks free, then it's proof otherwise that it's no longer resistance and it could be flipped to support. And once I see that, then price can possibly go higher and higher and higher. So that's what I'm waiting for. So yes, this is a good development, but I'm not super excited yet just because this is a resistance zone, right? It's a proven resistance zone. Just look at this angle, right? It's gotten rejected so many times and it's getting closer and closer to that level, right? So I need to see it break above before I get really, really excited. So let's go take a look at Bitcoin on log scale. And here's Bitcoin on log scale here. And one thing I really want to point out is this green level right here. It's also flipping back to support. So was a resistance, now support. Drop below a little bit, but back above. Now this bullish engulfing candle basically confirmed it as support again. And that level sits a little bit higher around 62,500, which that candle almost came back down and tested, right? And we can see those lines going across too. Those are Fibonacci extension levels that I pointed out before. And it held also that 2.618 a while ago, right? You can see it was a support, then it was a resistance, and then it exploded higher above that, right? And when we see this kind of explosion and a continuation, that kind of means it's going to go to the next extension level. And once we start making higher highs, once I see this start making higher highs, you can see it go to the 3.618, and that sits at 247,000. So this is going to be basically my minimum target for Bitcoin, but it's not going to get there until it starts making a higher high from here and here, right? And that'll be the minimum target for this cycle, possibly even higher and higher, right? We don't really know because the green level was hit. So the next level does sit up here at around 1.9 million, right? And even the 4.236 gets in the way around 871. So there'll probably be some pretty good resistance around that level before we get to that 1.9 million. But again, this is probably the minimum target here. This is the medium target, and this is the high target for the cycle here. So I'm looking at, yeah, it's a good range, right? Anywhere from 250,000 to 2 million, basically, and with a medium price of maybe 871. So things are looking pretty good for the future for Bitcoin. I would not be bearish at all. And also, when I combine the confluence of that bull market support band that I've been showing on every chart, we can see that this is above that support band again, right? It's on the top side, and all price did was wick below, retest some levels, and now it's probably going to close back above. Again, there's 8 hours and 24 minutes left in the week, so let's see how it closes. But this is a great development to have 2 weekly candles in a row close back above that bull market support band for a continuation higher and higher. So just got to be some more patient for it to break these previous highs. But once it does, it's going to continue higher and higher. And I think it's going to go pretty quickly. Okay, next we have Ethereum pulled up here on linear scale. And we can see clearly that it's holding a support level of this 45-degree angle very nicely. It was a support here, and it was a resistance here, but then that bullish engulfing candle broke above to that orange level, and then it came back down to basically back test that 45-degree angle, and now we can see it clearly stuck under resistance, right? The orange level. It went straight up to that level, 3,500, about 3,540, and then it came back down and retested levels, right? So it's clearly a resistance right here, and it's also making a series of lower highs. So essentially what we can see is that this is just more time, right? It's just going to take more time. And if we put on the Ichimoku here, I can show you that it is closing back below, or possibly, we don't really know yet. There's still 8 hours left. It is closing back below the conversion line right here, going towards the baseline. So this is more proof that the altcoins are not ready to really break out like Bitcoin is, because it's starting to close back below indicators, below levels, below the conversion line, which currently sits at 33.92. So if somehow it does close back above there by the end of the trading week tonight, then possibly we can see things go higher and higher. So this is an interesting development, but it's not really looking ready to break out yet, because of the resistance of the conversion line right here at 33.92, and even more resistance of that orange level right there at around 35.50. So essentially just more time, more patience for it to break above to continue higher and higher. And now let's check out Ethereum on log scale. And now I have Ethereum pulled up on log scale here, and you can see that I have some Fibonacci levels pulled up here. And the support that it held perfectly was that 1.272 Fibonacci extension level. And where is that extension from? It's from the previous high of 2018 to the low down here of December 2018. So you can totally tell that this is support now, right? Which means it should gravitate to the 1.414 and the 1.618 around 8,288, right? It should get up to those levels later and later. So essentially what I can show you is that this is support, right? It's at support. The 3,000 level looks like it's support. I would not worry about that, but it just needs more time to get above, right? And if I add that bull market support band here, you can see that it did come down and backtest that bull market support band, the bottom of it, and it even wicked through back to that 1.272 Fibonacci extension. So you can see that this is support right now, but it's not back above the top of it anymore. It could be just closing in the middle of it, which indicates it's also not ready to go higher and higher yet. But the moral of the story is support has been found, but it's not ready to break out yet for Ethereum. So now I have XRP here pulled up on linear scale. I'm not going to use a GAN on here because I like the GAN on log scale the best. But one thing I want to show you is it's trying to break above that 200-week moving average. And that 200-week moving average does sit at 59,865. And currently price is at 60,305, right? It's breaking above. So if there is a weekly candle close that closes above this 200-week moving average, then that is a great, great, great thing for possibly a continuation higher. But we can also see a series of lower highs here. Look, from here, lower high, lower high, lower high. So we need to see price close candles back above that 70-cent zone, 73, 74, right? For price to really start to explode, right? But this is a very positive development. So what else matches around that 70-cent zone? Well, if I go to log scale, you can see that this arc that I have shown many times, the top arc, right now does sit around 70 cents, right? 69, 70 cents. So the good news is it did hold that 1.618, and then it held it as support, right? And which was also the bottom of the arc. So the good news is it held support, launched up, even got back above this bull market support band right here. So it's on the top side. And now it looks like it's going higher and higher. So even if I put on the Ichimoku, we can see what's going on with that, right? We'll take off the bull market support band, put on the Ichimoku, and you can see that it's back within the cloud. And it even went back below the cloud to back test it. And it's above the conversion line down here and the baseline right here. And so price is working on its way to go to the top of the cloud here, around maybe 64, 65 cents. That's the next level I want to see it break above, and then break above this arc here, right? And once this arc gets flipped to a support, because if you see in the past, it's never happened before, never been flipped to support. Once that happened, it's going to go to the 2.272 minimum, $3, then possibly the 2.618, $9, and then possibly even the next level up here around $28, $29. So this is what I'm looking at for this cycle, 2.272 fib, 2.618 fib, and possibly this level up here. So one step at a time. So the first step, get back above the cloud. Second step, get back above the arc for the very first time, flip it to support. And once that happens, then it'll be ready to go higher and higher. So the moral of all the coins out there is it's still stuck in a range, right? Even with Bitcoin, even with total crypto cap, they are the most bullish, but they are still making lower highs. They are still not ready to really break out yet, break out of that resistance. And until that happens, we can't get too excited yet. So just more patience to see what happens. But the good news is for everything, it looks like the bottom is in or very near. But most coins, they're just still stuck in a range and not quite ready to break out yet.